Order of the day number 3, Nuclear Activities Prohibitions Repeal Bill 2023, second reading.
Mr Limbrick.
Thank you, President. I lay on the table the Statement of Compatibility with the Charter of Human Rights and Responsibilities Act 2006. And I move that the bill now be read a second time. Thank you, President. On behalf of the Libertarian Party, I am proud to put forward a bill to repeal the antiquated restrictions on nuclear activities in Victoria. In particular, this bill seeks to repeal the Nuclear Activities Prohibition Act 1983 and amends other references to this Act. Mr President, we are at a crossroads, and this bill could go one of two ways. It could be that we repeal these laws and send a massive signal to the rest of Australia and the world that we believe climate change is a serious issue and we should use everything at our disposal to decarbonise. It could be that we open the door for a way to make Victoria the most reliable producer of clean energy in Australia and a magnet for manufacturing. It may be that we allow the communities of the Latrobe Valley to flourish and keep everyone's lights on, even after the coal-fired power stations are switched off. During the inquiry into nuclear prohibitions that I established in 2019, we found plenty of community support for this, including from the Australian Workers' Union. It could be that we open the way for Victoria to lead Australia for low carbon emissions like several other countries around the world that use nuclear energy. It could be that by repealing these laws, we allow ourselves to take a piece of the $300 billion AUKUS submarine deals, and our universities can start to train the hundreds of engineers and physicists Australia will need for this project. And it could be that Victoria becomes a major hub for mineral sands mining and processing, so we can produce the rare earths that we need for magnets in wind turbines and glass we need for durable solar panels. But of course, it could go the other way. If you think that the attitudes that existed at the time BMX Bandits was released are still relevant, then you may vote to keep the prohibitions. You can hope that Victoria can decarbonise using weather-dependent technology, even though scientists expect weather to become more extreme. You can also hope that Victoria achieves its aim of producing 95% of its energy through weather-dependent technology by 2035 without one of the few proven methods of decarbonisation. I'm prepared to bet that Victoria will not achieve this by 2035 and it won't even be close. And I invite people in 2035 to watch this speech, even if they're doing it by candlelight with a 5% charge on their phone, and see if I'm wrong. But here is how I know. Firstly, no country has successfully achieved these kinds of targets without a lot of help from either hydro or nuclear technology. Secondly, the government seems to be in denial about the actual costs of building the infrastructure, both financially and environmentally. I can see a time in the near future when environmentalists and traditional owners see the plans and make it extremely difficult. If we fail to pass this legislation, someone looking back at this from the year 2035 might wonder how they came to be in this situation. But Germany provides an example of how badly this can fail. As they have transitioned out of producing nuclear power, their carbon emission and energy prices have both risen. Their neighbour France, who embraced nuclear technology in the 1960s, continues to produce clean and reliable power. I would suggest that the reason is performative politics, politicians who claimed climate change was an emergency, but not more urgent than upsetting some of their members. I also think every politician in this chamber is confident they won't be here in 2035 and won't be held to account on this. I know we'll hear from some members who claim nuclear technology should be prohibited because it's expensive, but that's ridiculous. It's not a genuine argument. If it were, Snowy 2.0 would be against the law, and so would chocolate bars at convenience stores. And if those who oppose nuclear technology are truly worried about money, then they would immediately end the prohibition of activities that would allow Victorians to win contracts for the AUKUS deal. As possibly the only person in this chamber who's studied physics at university, I'm happy to say that I think nuclear power is amazing. It creates enormous amounts of energy with very little waste. In fact, it's the only energy source where the waste is completely contained. Nuclear power plants are safe, clean and quiet. And I think the best time to build a nuclear power plant was 20 years ago, but the second best time is today. But as a fan of free markets, I'm not here to suggest taxpayer funds should be spent on nuclear technology either. Repealing the nuclear prohibitions will cost us absolutely nothing. Keeping them could cost us billions. There is no excuse for anyone who believes in science or thinks climate change is an important issue to oppose the legislation before you today. I believe repealing the nuclear prohibitions would create a fantastic message to the rest of Australia and be a big shot in the arm for the scientists and manufacturing industries of Victoria. We can be bold. We can demonstrate to Australia and to the world that we are not afraid to embrace innovation, and we can step firmly into the 21st century. On behalf of the Libertarian Party, I commend this bill to the House. Being a Libertarian is sometimes described as like being the only sober person in the car and no one will let you drive. The government is driving us into the dark.